Hey there, I'd like to introduce you to the newest member of our little family. We had our baby this week. This is our third baby and it's a girl. We waited to find out and we are just thrilled to have another girl, and I'm excited to introduce you to Nora Beth. She is a sweetheart. She's so precious and such a blessing already, a joy to our life. And today she is 4 days old, and I thought I would share our birth story with you, and wanted to thank everyone who's followed along with the pregnancy journey and who had been praying for us for a smooth and good delivery. And we are 4 days out with our little baby. So glad to have her here, and I wanted to share how things went. So if you've been following along with my updates, I had prodromal labor for the last few weeks and thought surely any day she would be coming. And so we had several false alarms, and I was just so ready to have her here, so ready for the real thing to happen. And so I'll start with the day before she was born. So she was born at 40 weeks and 6 days. So 6 days past her due date. And the day before, I was having contractions throughout the day, but I had gotten to the point where I was just ignoring them until they would get stronger, because I didn't know if it was going to be the real thing. And the day before, I went on a long walk outside to get exercise and fresh air, and to just take a break from all the messages of people checking in on me and asking, still no baby yet? And that got really exhausting at the end, so I did have to take a break from my phone and from updating people, because there was no news to update and I had no idea when this baby was going to decide to arrive. So that day I just tried to rest and prepare myself, prepare my mind, and relax and just be ready. And I think that extra time was good for me to get in a good space where I was more emotionally ready and mentally ready for the newborn phase and this transition to having a new baby in our family again. And so I'm thankful for that extra time, and I just tried to focus and to relax. And then the day that she was born, I woke up at about 4 o'clock in the morning with some stronger contractions and started timing them. So I timed them for about half an hour and sent it to my midwife to let her know what was going on. And she said, okay, let me know if things speed up, because what had been happening was I would wake up and have contractions for several hours in a regular pattern, a few minutes apart, and then they would slow down. That had been going on for weeks. And so I tried to just time some and see if it was any different. And then around 5:30 that morning, they were getting stronger. I started crying through some contractions, and I think that was partially just feelings of relief that it was getting stronger and that this was go time. And so I asked the midwife to come on over, and she came around 6 a.m. and baby was born a little after 10 at 10:19 in the morning. So we had several hours of active labor that I was moving around through contractions in several different positions. I would sway holding on to my husband or lean against the birth ball. And as they got stronger, I started making more moaning noises during the contractions to help cope, and really focusing on my breathing during contractions. And so I knew that it was speeding up, that we were getting closer. It wasn't super fast, so I felt like it had enough time to really make sure that we were all ready. We had everything set to go. And my mother-in-law was here to help with the older kids during labor, so she got to be here for the birth. I was so thankful that that worked out, because several times we weren't sure if she would make it. And so I'm really thankful for my birth team. My midwife was amazing, coaching me through the contractions, helping me, and my husband was awesome, helping with counter pressure on my back during contractions. He would rub my shoulders, or he would, kiss my face and be like, it's gonna be good, we're gonna meet our baby, and just reminding me that that I was doing a good job. I think those things made a big difference to have a supportive team like that. So we worked through contractions for several hours, and they continued to get stronger. And at one point, I felt like I needed to get in the shower to have that warm water on my back and on my belly during contractions. So I did get in the shower for a little while and try to just breathe through them and relax. And they were getting stronger. So in between contractions, I decided to get ready to move to the bed. The bed was made for the birth, and since we were having a home birth, we had set it up with a shower curtain in one layer and an extra sheets and puppy pads, so it would be an easier cleanup. And so the bed was already made, ready to go, and I knew it was gonna be soon. I started feeling some like spontaneous pushing. I wasn't trying to push, but more pressure during contractions. So I was able to make it to the bed and ended up leaning on the birth ball during some contractions, but I got really shaky, which is a sign of transition in labor, where it was just uncontrollable shaking, and I didn't feel cold or anything. I just thought, this is a weird feeling, and it was during the contraction. And I was leaning against the birth ball. Excuse me. I was leaning against the birth ball during the contraction, but then my knees were getting sore. I wasn't as comfortable, so I decided to lay down on my side, and I laid on my left side with a pillow between my knees. And that's how I've been sleeping a lot, and that's how I was able to get comfortable at the end of pregnancy. And that's also when I would lay down to time contractions and have regular contractions, it was in that position. So I thought that was interesting that that was the most comfortable at the end. I didn't really feel like getting up or moving around. I thought, if I can lay down and relax the rest of my body, then I can focus on my breathing during contractions. So that's how I was coping. Of course, this was a natural birth, so there was no medication. It wasn't, I was using the water from the shower as kind of a natural epidural of like relaxing and having that heat on my muscles, and that really did help. And so that's the closest I got to a water birth, was laboring in the shower for a little while. And then after I made it to the bed, I was having stronger spontaneous pushing during contractions. And like I said, I had a pillow between my knees, so that was an interesting position to feel like I'm pushing, but I wasn't trying to. I was actually almost trying to hold back and not push yet, because I knew that it was gearing up for the real thing. And so my midwife did an amazing job coaching me through. And at the end, I remember looking at her and I said, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do now? And she's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to get up? Do you want to move around? I was like, no, I think I'm good. I think I want to stay. So I was there, and during a really strong contraction with that pushing, I was holding on to her hand really tightly. My husband was giving counter pressure on my back, and so during that, we really did work as a team during those strong contractions. And I was in the zone, focused on my breathing. I was like, I'm just gonna take it one breath at a time, one contraction at a time, and not worry about how long this is gonna take or how fast it's gonna go, but just know that my baby was coming very soon. And so with that spontaneous pushing, they were getting stronger with each surge. I would have a little bit of a break in between, and I would just try to rest and relax, and then another one would come. And so at that point, at the end, when the baby was coming, the midwife was great at watching the signs, and I was trying to vocalize what was going on, what I was feeling. So we worked together as a team, and she was able to move the pillow. And then I was still laying on my left side, but I had one leg up where she could see the baby's head. And the baby's head was actually born in the amniotic sac, which is really rare. Normally the water breaks and you don't see the sac at all, but my water had not broken this entire time. And I think because of some of the gentle pushing and because of me holding back from pushing really hard, it just had the pressure of the water sac. And so her head was actually born in the amniotic sac. And my midwife said, I can see the head. And she said, I'm trying to break the water sac, but she had her gloves on and it wouldn't break the sac. And so it got to the point where the baby's head was out to the neck, and then the water bag broke. and then the baby turned to the side and her shoulders slid out and she came out with the next contraction. And so I didn't get to see the head coming out in the amniotic sac, but I thought that was amazing to know that that happened, and that it is pretty rare for you to get to see something like that. But at that point, my eyes were closed and I was actually panting, breathing through that contraction because of all the intense pressure. I knew the head was coming out. She was telling me what was going on. And so I was panting, breathing, not pushing as hard as I could, trying to kind of hold back, but just a constant pressure. So I was going when she was coaching me through the breathing, and I did that for, you know, about a minute and a half, I don't know, however long the contraction was, to get her head out. And then I was just focused on my breathing, and then her body came out with the next contraction, and she, the midwife, put the baby up on my belly right away, and she was helping get everything situated, make sure the baby had everything cleaned out of his nose and that kind of thing, to get baby breathing. Baby started crying, and at that point we were just so excited. We're like, the baby's here. Here's well, the baby's here. We didn't know it was a she yet. And so she, the midwife held her up, and I said, it's a girl. We have a girl. And I had a double take because I was like, really? It's a girl? Are you sure? And it was so amazing. I was so excited to have a girl, and that was my guess along this pregnancy. I thought, I'm guessing girl, and I loved the name for her, and so I was really hoping to use the girl name that we had picked out. And so at that point, we were just overjoyed. Baby was crying, so her lungs were getting cleared out. She was getting cleaned up. I was getting cleaned up, and I just laid there with her, staring at her, and she was completely covered in vernix, which is amazing. It's that cheesy lotion, like whitish substance that on the babies. And a lot of times, if babies are born after their due date, they don't have very much vernix at all, unless it's like in the creases or in their little baby rolls. But she was completely covered in it, and so the midwife rubbed it into her skin like lotion, and it helps their skin not to dry out and be moisturized, and has a lot of good stuff in it. And so we saw her like that and just fell in love. I mean, she was so squished and so cheesy looking with the vernix on, but I was like, she's so beautiful. And my husband was right there. Our kids were able to come in and see her right after she was born, and my little boy said, the baby came out, and they were so excited. And we got to tell them that they had a little sister. So that was just such a precious moment, and we just soaked it in for a while. We just stared at her and didn't rush things. We let the cord stop pulsing, and I was just laying in that position. I didn't want to move because I thought, this is good. I'm good. I feel okay. And we waited on the placenta to be birthed after that, which took a little while, but we were waiting on several good contractions to birth the placenta. And so I was just feeling so thankful for you know, for having a girl, for having a healthy baby, for getting through it. Just absolutely an adrenaline rush when the baby's born and you're like, I just did that. And then just completely falling in love with your baby and like, I made this. Like, this is amazing. It's just really a mountaintop experience, like so intense, and so much that goes into it. So much anticipation for the birth, and not knowing how it's gonna go, how fast it's gonna go, when they're gonna come. There's so much unknown. So I think there was a flood of relief that she was here, and that now we had this beautiful baby to enjoy. And so that is how the birth went. It took several hours, like I said, from those active labor contractions to giving birth. And then after that, it kind of was just like a time of staring at her. She was really alert the first hour or so, and she latched on right away for breastfeeding. And so we had that special moment, got some new pictures of her right away, and then she got cleaned up and I got cleaned up. We were able to rest at home together as a family, and that was such a beautiful experience. I've had 3 births now, and they've all been different. I had a birth center and hospital birth, and then last time we had a home birth, but I ended up going to the hospital afterwards for some bleeding. And so this time we did several things to prevent bleeding, to prevent tearing, and I've had such a smooth recovery so far. I'm 4 days postpartum right now, and I have really good energy. I've been resting. I don't feel very sore at all, and didn't really have tearing this time or anything like that. And so I feel very, very thankful for a smooth and beautiful birth, even with the intense moments, and even with, you know, it's definitely a huge transformation in your body of birthing a human. And so I wouldn't say that it's easy, but I think all of those things that went into the preparation were helpful to be in the right state of mind, to be clear. And I think it's good to communicate with your birth team and to advocate for yourself and to know what your options are. And so I just feel very thankful for the chance to have a home birth this time, and that we have this beautiful baby to enjoy. And since she was born, we have been staring at her and enjoying just seeing all the little newborn facial expressions and all the little noises and squeaks and even the cries. But she has been a champ at nursing, and she's a good sleeper too. And we were just talking about how she's a champ at diapers already, even just a few days in. She's got this down pat. So she's just checking all the boxes. She's looking around right now. She'll have times where she's really alert and looking around, and then of course we stare at her when she's sleeping too. And so we are in the baby bubble of the newborn phase, and she is just precious. She's perfect. And so we're so thankful and just love her to death. She's precious, and our little Nora Beth has already changed our lives. So I'm excited to share her with you and get to show you that she finally came, and that we are super happy. I love the name Nora Beth. It has been on my baby name list for a while, and Nora means honor. And I love how we use the first and middle name. It seems very southern to say Nora Beth, and so we'll call her Nora or Nora Beth. And she is already just so loved. The older kids have been helping with the baby and just love to give her kisses and to hold her fingers, and it's been precious to see them really step up as a big sister and a big brother for her. And we're thankful for our family and our friends and our support system. I've really been focusing on resting during this time and letting people help me, asking for help and accepting help, because I know this is a special season, and I need to be gentle with myself and just getting used to each other. We have to get to know each other, and so that's what we're doing right now in our little baby bubble, is enjoying the newborn phase. And so I wanted to share our birth story and what it was like for us. It's been a crazy ride during this pregnancy of just not knowing who we're expecting, and I think waiting to find out was really special, and we're just thrilled to have a girl. And I think Nora Beth is beautiful, and so excited to see her grow. And I wanted to thank you for following along with our journey and our story. I hope you're encouraged by our birth story. I'd love to hear your comments and questions, so please leave them below, and subscribe for more cute baby videos coming soon, as well as videos about motherhood and my life and music. Would love for you to follow along. It's beautiful. So please subscribe for more videos coming soon, and we'll see you in the next one. Say bye.